Hey, welcome to the Shift Show. I'm Christopher McClure, and welcome to the Shift Show. We bring spirit to bear on trending issues, and the issue or the episode today is the principle of love. And when I say the principle of love, I'm not just talking about love. I'm talking about joining um, principle with love. And I will explain that more as we get into the episode. But I want to start off with a dream that I had, and then some waking life experiences that I had recently, and then I'll get into the the process that created for me in the conclusion, which is the principle of love. So the dream um, is that and I had this dream. Let's see, it would be on December 3rd. And so I'm in this big kind of I'll call it a dormitory. It's like there's a conference going on, and this dormitory, this big building, is where the people are staying. And I'm getting this sense, there's lots of people around, and and I'm getting this sense that they're going to start closing the doors soon, and keeping people in, right? And it's like, oh, I need to get out of here. And but I realize I can't just like get my suitcase and walk out the door because I'll get nabbed. So I go to my room and I drop my suitcase out the window. And as I'm coming back, and I'm going to go out. I'm planning to go out and then come around for the suitcase. Um, and as I'm coming back, there's this goon walking next to me. This guy who's like a strong arm, and he's like messing with me, and I'm just kind of like pushing him away, like leave me alone, um, and he keeps messing with me, and I realize, oh, I need to be more forceful here, and I grab a sledgehammer and I just smash him over the head, and that does it. He leaves me alone, and that's where the dream ends. So that's the dream. And then on the following Sunday, right? So it was a Friday. December 3rd was a Friday night, and then on the Sunday, um, all right. Well, let me set this up. So I'm married, and my wife's vaccinated. I'm not vaccinated, um, and but we've been able to kind of work with that a lot through what I call tolerance and nonviolent communication. Basically being having ways to allow each other to have our viewpoints, and you know, with, basically that allowing people to have their viewpoints, and not necessarily having to agree, but allowing a sense of sovereignty for each person. And so and my so two other things. My my wife recently reinstated her massage license, and she had been massaging her mom. Her mom would come to our house like every 2 weeks, and she'd get a massage. And so on Sunday, her mom was supposed to come over for a massage, and she canceled because she was worried about the new variant Omicron, and and the fact that I was unvaccinated. Um, so that so, so that number one, circumstance, stress, and then my my wife's daughter was planning to come into town on with her boyfriend, and that would be this Wednesday. And we had it set up. We had it set up that I would get tested, and and that would kind of alleviate their concerns about vaccination, unvaccination. Um, And so it was a plan. But the day before, on Saturday the 4th, I found out that the the swab testing, where they put the swab up your nose, that's actually coated with ethylene oxide, which is a known carcinogen. And when I found that out, I was like, I can't do this test anymore. I mean, I can't do this test on an ongoing basis. And so those two factors on the same day, on the Sunday, resulted in this a blowout. Basically, my wife reacted. Um, she felt like that my stance about about vaccination, about that I choose to be unvaccinated, was costing her income, and it was costing her relationship with her daughter. So, all right. So now I'm going to I'm going to share my screen and go to a chart that I made. Oops, wrong. Okay, here we go. Here's the chart. So I covered point. This is the ancient Enneagram, and I use this to help to process and create solutions. And here's the dream, and here's the story I just shared with you. So we're so in the Enneagram, there's this triangle, which is there's usually a polarity, sovereignty and tolerance, and then the sort of the unifying factor, or the reconciling factor, which is wholeness, which is I consider myself a wholeness geek, and this wholeness is very important to me. So sovereignty is that's something I believe in, which is that we all have the right to make our own decisions about what's good for us. And that's, of course, that's within reason. If you choose to be a serial killer, obviously that's that affects other people, and that choice isn't a reasonable choice. So there's in general, in the pandemic, there are people making this decision to be unvaccinated, like myself, and I have specific reasons for that, and I have thing alternatives to the vaccine that I consider that work, and in my opinion work better. But I'm not going to go into that right now. But then, on the other hand, there's people who are choosing the vaccine. I think in either case, there is underlying fear. It's fear about our survival, about our individual survival and our survival as a species. And whenever, and so we're making these choices, these strategies, to deal with that fear. And whenever you have fear or any other feeling that you're trying to get away from, you're not feeling fully, any kind of strategy built on top of that is a house of cards. In other words, it's as soon as that that strategy starts to crumble, then what comes up is the fear. It's like a volcano. It's like the volcano erupts, with all the fear that's been held down by the strategy. So we're all in this together, and like I said before, that we all get to choose, but we all get to, but we have to allow each other that. We have to allow each other to choose for ourselves. And we do that through tolerance. And just briefly, some of the just the two main ways of practicing tolerance is one, to make I statements. So, when if somebody believes, um, that the answer to the pandemic is vaccination, to say, to instead of saying the answer to the vaccinate to the pandemic is for everybody to get vaccinated, right? That's not an I statement. An I statement is I believe that the answer to the pandemic is for everybody to get vaccinated. So then it becomes their opinion, and they have to get to have their opinion. But anybody else who doesn't have the same opinion gets to have their opinion. The other part of, in a basic sense, the other part of tolerance is to mirror and validate. In other words, if somebody said that to me and they actually made an I statement, I believe that the answer to the pandemic is for everybody to get vaccinated. I would say, what I hear you saying, that that you believe the answer to the pandemic is for everybody to get vaccinated, and I can understand how you would think and feel that way, and understand that when you validate somebody, when you say I understand how you, I'm not saying I agree with you. I'm just saying I can understand how you would come to that conclusion. There's lots of people who've come to that conclusion, um, and it works vice versa. So this is kind of, we're all in this together. This is the setup. I believe that we need to, people need to be sovereign. They need to decide for themselves. That's, I think, an important thing. Is like we're not going to evolve as a species unless we maintain the independence of each member of the species and come together as a species. That is the conundrum of the human of human evolution, of the evolution of the human species. So, but then, like, according to this dream, there are sort of red flags, that are happening, where the sovereignty is being it's being jeopardized. And and I think I believe it's happening. I can see it happening in the world where, well, I mean, to start, President Joe Biden said his campaign promise was there will be no vaccine mandates, and he lied. He's gone against his campaign promise. He's instituted the mandatory vaccine for health workers, and and it's encroaching, and of course, in other places in the world like Victoria, Australia, it's a law now that you have to be vaccinated. In fact, if you're a business, there's like these officials going around and checking the businesses, and if you're not vaccinated, you get like a $300,000 fine. So there is a point where you really, we have to take a stand. If our sovereignty is in question, there's a point where we really have to take a stand. And I think I have to mention Nazi Germany, where it went way past that point, and that's why Hitler was able to go so far, is because in his own country, people were not paying attention to the red flags. All right. So having said that, and that's the red and the use of force is like the sledgehammer, but so it's important to stand up for what you believe and to maintain your sovereignty, but so the next question is how do we do that really, and or what are the options? And for me, all right. So how do I explain this? So I, um, my wife and I had some, as far as we can tell, we had some past lives where where I'll just say it, where I apparently killed her. We were married, and I murdered her. And the way I understand it, it was a contention between principle and love. And we've recently done some healing. We've done some actual psychotherapy work um, in a group called Family Constellation, where you actually act out, um, you know, past life situations. And in the one that was done for me, what was realized through this family constellation is that love cannot be killed. And what that means to me is that love loves not for love in return. It loves not within. This is true love, unconditional love, loves just to love, and um, which to me is the principle of love. It's like like I said, wholeness is very important to me, and wholeness is it's the the what's implied with wholeness is both spirit and matter. So in order to um, fully embrace spirit and matter, the the love is the way that we can embrace all of creation, which is matter. And so by loving creation, we're loving the matter, and we also love spirit. And it's the principle of love. So in other words, love has to go beyond the normal kind of boundaries, which is like, well, I don't feel like it's safe to love, or you hurt me in the past, so I'm not going to, I'm not going to love you anymore, um, or I'm going to withhold my love. And this is the lesson that I'm learning, is that love has to go beyond the normal boundaries. And so there's the principle of love, and that's how we get to wholeness. So yeah, I think that's enough of that chart. I'm going to stop my screen share. And so, in conclusion, basically, it's there's been a lot happening, for everybody, and for me in my life, and um, contention regarding the pandemic, and that there's this sovereignty of those people who choose to not be vaccinated is being encroached upon, in my opinion, as I see things in the world. And but uh, I believe in the spirit of nonviolence. Kind of the Gandhi. Uh, I forget the word, satgriya, um, that he uses to describe that. Um, it's it's this principle of love that is the force. That's the force. It's a big force, and it's a force that will move through all of creation, so that so that anybody who wants to be completely whole um, can can do that with the principle of love. So yeah, this is Christopher McCore, and this has been Welcome to the Shift Show, and the episode today has been the principle of love. Thanks for listening.